Good morning, good morning, good morning, as Jerry might say. So it goes without saying, even though I will say it, I am so very grateful to be standing here in person with you today. This church is amazing, and I've been away for most of the winter. I've been working on Sundays, so I haven't been able to come even in Zoom. So it carries me, and I hope you all feel the same way too. For our everyday service, our everyday experience together, it's pretty darn sacred. That's what I feel. So thank you for having me. And today I picked the Summer of Love, or it was picked for me because I'm going to do some channeling, and the angels and the ancestors will have a special message, I hope, of inspiration as we're moving into summer, except for here in Duluth, where now it's going to drop down to back to being winter again, but that's okay. We're used to it. We come to expect it. And but before I do that, I want to share some experiences, some pretty profound spiritual experiences that I've had this winter. And it ties into this theme of the Summer of Love, how we're going to become love. That's the mission. And this inspirational message is to inspire us to commit and continue to strive to become love. And so I'll just tell you my story. I started out, I came here, I think in October, I was my last time here, and I had been headed to Georgia, but those plans fell through, which in the moment when they fell through was pretty devastating. There was a huge sucking of air out of my lungs because I'd rented my house and I was all ready for this, and it's like, where am I going to go? And luckily I have some dear friends who have adopted me now as the fourth sister in their family down in Madison, and said, come live with us. We've got plenty of room. And part of the family, they have the house next door is their mother and their sister live, and then they have a house, all the kids are gone, they have a huge garden, they call it the compound, they've got chickens, and the woman next door has pigs, and this is in the middle of Madison, so I felt pretty blessed right there. But then I thought, well, I really have to work. I'm not in a financial position not to be able, and I thought, what can I do at this age? I'm so old. I'm so old. And I couldn't bartend like the old young days and couldn't sing. And I thought about teaching piano, and I realized that wasn't going to work either. And then I thought about maybe a bakery. I love to bake, but you're on your feet all the time. And the same with a bookstore. And my host and hostess drove cab for years, drive cab, for Union Cab in Madison, which is probably the only worker-owned taxi company I've found yet. I've been looking across the country to see if there's any other models of this business that's been running cab since 1979, and it's worker-owned. And I knew about them because I have been at Rebecca and Adams often and seen their participation in this job that they have, and always thought it was interesting. And I thought, well, it's sitting down. I get to be around people, right? And that's what I loved about bartending. I didn't like making people drunk, but it was. So I passed the test, and I went in and took all the training. It was very extensive. This isn't just an Uber where you get a license and hook up and then you're done. There was defensive driving classroom and defensive driving on the road and sensitivity training and days with the drivers and IT learning, how to do the software, how to do the bookkeeping, how to report the things. And it was really overwhelming at first, which I highly encourage everyone to do something that's really overwhelming, because it forces you to start to fire on, no, I can't. Yes, you can. No, I can't. Yes, you can. And pretty soon you can. And then there's all the accomplishments that goes along with the uplifting of, I did it. And so my first day was the first of the year, and I was totally unprepared for the deep spiritual nature of this job. My hope was that I wouldn't get stabbed. To me, that was like, would be a crowning achievement if some crazy person digging my cab and kill me. But Union has different accounts. So they have accounts with IRIS, which is the government organization that provides transportation for the disabled. And hospitals, so when somebody gets out of the emergency room in the middle of the night, the hospital pay for the cab ride home, or the hospital, after a stay at the hospital, they'll pay to, and even 3 hours away, they'll pay the cab company. So, and then we have an account with, I don't know what level of government takes care of the rides for the homeless, from the homeless shelter that kicks you out at 7:30 to the day shelter that kicks you out at 4:30 p.m. and where you go back to the homeless. So there's a huge swath of people who live this life, going from the homeless shelter to the day shelter to the day shelter to the homeless shelter. Most of them have walkers, many of them have wheelchairs, and so that was a good deal of the service. And so I totally was not prepared for what was going to happen when I began to transport people. And it started off to realize that I'm doing this a great service. I have this person in my cab for 25 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, the homeless people. What can I do in that 20 minutes while I'm there with them to become love? I mean, I have no idea. But if while they're in my cab and I'm creating this space where I am exuding love and healing and all the things, and being Jesus, and maybe just sitting in the cab in that energy. You know, they said Jesus, you could just touch the hem of his garment and you'd be healed, because his energy force was so aligned to compassion and so powerful. And the angels used to tell the psychic sorority that when you get to this place where you are aligned to compassion, truly starting with self, where you have learned to self-love, then you'll be able to have that same exuding force just sitting in a bus. You don't have to say anything, you don't have to teach anybody anything, you don't have to demonstrate, you just have to hold that space of compassion and love and truth, the truth of the universal understanding that we're all one and that we're here to learn to love. And so that's a kind of a tall order just to drive a cab. But it's me, so this was my experiments that I was doing. And as I got to know people and got to understand, I could see the power this is. And for example, one of my last rides before I left for the summer was taking this vet from the VA. It was probably an hour and a half out into some tiny town in western Wisconsin down there. And we were just talking. We were talking about fishing, and I was talking about Lake Superior fishing, and he was talking about his fishing boats and the this and the that. And we got to his house, and he got out and he said, I live alone, and a lot of cab drivers don't want to talk. And you have made my entire week that he got to talk about his fishing that he can't do anymore. And that was my tip. That was like, you just paid me because I'm just yakking about my silly fishing excursion with my ex-husband on Lake Superior. It's like, that meant so much to him to have that contact. And there was one morning, because I went to work at 4 a.m. and the first one was a call from the ER, and the destination was the Beacon, which is the day shelter. So it's 4 a.m., the day shelter isn't open, but he's homeless, and you can't go into the night shelter. They shut and lock the door. You can't just come pounding on the door at 4 a.m. drunk and say, hey, I need a place to stay. So he could barely get in the cab. He was probably still drunk, and something was wrong with his leg to where he was kind of, and the policeman was not very understanding or supportive. He was like, get the guy out of here, and it's January, and it's just been like 16 below. And what am I to do? I pull up to the day shelter, and of course it's closed. And it was an interesting position of not feeling like, oh, I should take him here, or I should bring him to my house, or I should do this. It's just like, this was my part. This was what God called me to do, was to drive him from the ER to the Beacon. You've done this. And he got out of the cab, and he started just dragging his leg across the frozen parking lot to somewhere. I have no idea where. And it was so deep in me, I just prayed. I thought, that's all I can do. All I can do is pray. I can't help him. I can't get out of the cab and do that. So I prayed, and I thanked God and angels for taking care of him. Take care of him. Thank you for taking care of him. And a few days later, I got the same call. The ER, 4:30 in the morning, it's him. Only this time he's going to the night shelter. Because somewhere between the time that he got out of my cab the first time and I prayed for him, he learned that if you're coming from the ER, they have to let you in the night shelter. He learned that somehow. I don't know how, I don't know who told him, but we got to the night shelter, and I was like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, I'm sure. And he knocks on the door, and the guy opens the door, and I get to see the glimpse into, it's an old Gander Mountain, okay? With mattresses on the floor, basically. It's unbelievable, the homeless situation. But at least they have this. And the guy opens the door, and he goes, did he come from the emergency room? I said, yeah. And he got to go in. So did I solve homelessness? No. Did I solve his problems? No. But to me, that was a sign that the baby step of the step that I took to offer that prayer and to give my true love to that person was working. Okay, it's a baby step, but was I not going to celebrate it? That, oh my God, he got in, it's, okay, it's only 9 below today, but he got in. And so I spent a lot of time in the state of love, and the people, oh my gosh, the stories. The man who just, with 5 months out of 20-year sentence in the penitentiary for something dastardly that he didn't want to tell me, but while he was in prison, he read every religious text. He read the Torah, he read the Bible, he read the this and the that and the whole thing, and his whole mission now in life was to be an example for his nephews, because his nephews were right in that place, right, where you can get pulled into the street. And he was fierce with that passion. And so our conversations, elevated, and I could elevate that. That is your mission in life, Joe. Yes, you have to be the example. So the little things that I know, the things I've learned through my spiritual journey, just in casual conversation, was able to strengthen that. And the young girl I picked up outside the urgent care, going to the emergency room, 27, and working at a Dollar General where they just fired her because she had blood in her urine, imagine, and had to go to the emergency room, and just was weeping and weeping and weeping in the back of the cab, and she kept saying, thank you, God, thank you, while she was crying her eyes out. And I thought, well, you got you're on the right roll, you're not going, why me? And I gave her my phone number. I said, if you need to talk, honey, because she was struggling with being alcoholic and had a son somewhere. These are the people in the world that you never get to hang around. You never get to meet, you never get to talk to. You can think about them, but when they're sitting right there, and it can bring the whole overwhelming issue of what's happening in the world crashing down on it. But it also is an opportunity then for us to stand up and be that love that we're supposed to be. And I it's sort of my new calling. I feel like I get one-to-one, one person at a time access. And while I'm also involved in this amazing organization. But anyway, so I just don't want us to underestimate ourselves in this capacity. You know, I do readings all the time. People come like, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? To become love. Oh, yeah, that. No. What's my purpose, though? You know, what? Are you supposed to be a jockey? Are you supposed to be a minister? Are you supposed to be a this or that? I don't know. Because once you learn to love and practice self-love, now you're able to turn that on the rest of the world, one person at a time. And the people who trigger you, who were so quick, we were always so quick, you know, oh, that person doesn't respect me. They're just this and that and this and that. Well, okay, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to resist and fight back, or are you going to become love like Jesus and just become love? Because you know what? I think we're all here. I was saying this is my 28th year here, and I know many of you have been here longer than that, and then we're gone. Let's take this summer to be this new level of awareness and consciousness and intention. And it's hard to love yourself. It's the hardest thing. When you're beating yourself up, when you're feeling shame because I had an accident, my first accident in the cab. Was so minor you could hardly tell there was a scratch on the car, but I had to go through all the process of filling out the forms and doing the deal and blah, blah, blah. And I could feel this little voice wanting to creep in of shame. You know, oh my God, look at you. You haven't even been a cab driver for 3 months and you've already had an accident. What's wrong with you? It was just like, I'm not going there. I'm not doing it. I'm going to deal with what's at hand with as much love in my heart for everybody involved, and God will take care of the rest. And boy, life works a lot better that way. It doesn't make all that stuff go away, but it makes this stuff calmer, healthier, more thriving, more in touch with the everyday spirituality I think that all of us here and who are listening are striving for. I mean, that's why we come here, is to strengthen our connection to that divine. So it's always there, don't forget it. And so I would like to do just a little bit of channeled message. And I have a microphone up here. If at the time where they say open for questions and conversation, you want to ask something, please come up to the mic and ask, just so other people listening on Zoom can hear as well. We command that only the most divine light shine down upon you at this time, and the greatest good be present here. Such a joy it is to come to you in this beautiful morning where you are once again communing with each other in this sacred space that has held this energy of love and compassion for many, many, many years. And we want you today to begin by, first of all, tapping into that energy, that presence here in this church. So if you close your eyes, you feel your own root going deep into the center of the planet, through the basement of the church, connected to all the years that have accumulated here, including your own, but then the ancestors and those who are here in the peanut gallery who came before you, who have steadfastly sat and stood with you, for you, by you, in order to continue on this incredible evolution of human consciousness. And that's what you are here for. You have come here to be that change, to become that love. And right now, what is happening on the planet is that the way that evolution is taking place right now, every individual is being challenged to become that change, whether they think they want to or not, whether they're on a sacred conscious mission like you are to help the evolution of the planet, whether they're thieves or homeless or the wealthy or the powerful. Every human is being challenged to take responsibility for their own energy and their own intention. And what you're seeing is, for those who don't align to compassion, for those who work out of selfishness, for those who project their hatred onto other people and then take action to pursue their destruction. The major forces you see that are waging war, destroying humans and families, the very worst, the hell on earth. People are coming to the moment of Judgment Day, and you will be held accountable for all of your decision making, for all of your projection, for what you put forth in the world. You are going to get returned. Even though culture seems to make it look like the wealthy and the powerful and the warlords are all winning because they keep marching forward, they're not. They're not. You have come onto a planet that is unpredictable. You've come here with a commitment to this mission. You've made a covenant in your soul before you came into your body that you volunteered and you were chosen to come here to anchor this love and compassion in the planet in whatever way God sees fit for you. And then you come into this life, and how your life falls out, all the details of he said, she said, and this happened and that happened, those are manifestations of present moment coming out of this interaction with who you are on the soul level. They are the free will aspect of your life. The covenant you made can never be broken. The promise that you've made, the intention that you set to come here and live this life to be this person who's going to anchor the love, that can't change. So if your ego is going that way and your soul wants you to go this way, these are the moments of your power where you decide. Should you go this way and act in love? Or should you go this way and act out of fear and hate and projection? And this is a push, we shall say, into a greater consciousness. So if you think about your lives and how when you were younger, you were not anywhere near as conscious of how things work, of what your decisions were. You were more making decisions sort of by the seat of the pants, just flying along. And then you created things that forced you to have to be aware. And you made a step. And then you made another step. And you went through more trauma and made another step. And it's through these traumatized steps that you learned how to come to this place of understanding. And you're just, even now, babies, beginning to understand the power of being human and how you need to learn to choose love. That's the only decision that matters in the world. It's not what you're going to do about your sister-in-law or how you're going to react to your father or any of that. It's how are you going to first choose love for yourself? And because that seems so benign to some people, they overlook it. But that's why we're coming here today. And we want you to go into this summer really making this intention that you're going to make it the summer of love. The term summer of love, of course, came from a time in American culture back in the 60s when the predominant role of leadership was done by hippies and Jesus freaks. And it was called the Summer of Love for other reasons as well. But it was because there was this soul expression emerging from hearts all over the world of peace and love and calm, not worry. And we're taking this and inspiring you, we hope, to want to set some goals for yourself. And it's always good, if you're committed to your own evolution, to make a finite plan. There's always going to be another one. One step is always going to lead to another step. So if you make this plan and you think about the summer, a time of experimentation where you can watch yourself and intentionally say, yes, I'm going to do this. It's not always going to be easy. You're going to get triggered and you're going to want to blame someone else and you're going to want to get into the fight, the back and forth, the he said, she said. But instead, if you step back into the silence where God is and commune, what it means is you're going to learn to teach yourself to process deep emotion. It's the most difficult thing for humans to intentionally do, to process and release some of the deep, not so loving emotion. But the more that you do that, the more you love your hate. The more you love your bitterness, the more you love on yourself, the more, one step at a time, you transform one more bit and one more bit, and you don't need to get overwhelmed or underserved by thinking you're not doing enough or you're not good enough or surely somebody else is doing it better than you. No, you're the only one who can love yourself in this way. You're the only one. We can send in armies of humans to love all over you, and if you don't love, if you can't absorb it yourself, then it's a loop that isn't getting, it's like food that's undigested, unabsorbed. So this summer, there's going to be some magnificent displays of this power. And so often you look at the negative things that are happening in the world, but you're going to see peace breaking out. You're going to see new movements, new opportunities to help bring love and peace to the world. And don't look huge. It's good to dream big, but think small, local, one person at a time. And that's the person in line in front of you at the grocery store. It's the person who's driving too close to you, behind you. It's one baby step at a time. And mostly, as you do this, the change that you'll feel is within you. Don't be measuring it by the events on the international stage. Measure it by your relationship to yourself and how that's manifesting. Because if we're correct, which we know that we are, you'll begin to manifest synchronicity, flow, answers to prayers. And the more that you accept and acknowledge these baby steps, the baby step answers to your prayers, the more they're going to accumulate. And pretty soon, by the end of the summer, you'll have a completely new understanding of why you're here, the power that you have, and your satisfaction of yourself that you're practicing what you claim to believe, that you're embodying it. And that, dear friends, changes everything. So, with all of that said, we are happy to answer any questions or have any conversation that you would like to have. If there's anyone in Afterlife you've been wanting to ask a question of, feel free, or anything else you'd like to share. So the question is, what do we see as the timeline of the split? We feel that this split is exactly what we're speaking of, and that you make your own timeline. That this isn't just something that humans sit by and wait for, oh, the people who are perpetrating the evil and perpetrating the making decisions for the good of the few at the expense of the many are suddenly going to disappear and the rest of us are going to create this world. No, it's a very localized experience so that you'll begin to see in your life those people are disappearing in your life. They might still be around the world, you might see them there, but you're finding that you're moving towards affiliation and creation of a like-minded hive, but not necessarily in like you're going to go out and buy a bunch of land and have your hive. It's that you'll be drawn to each other in public places, everyone will be there, but you'll pull to you those who are aligned with love and those who are building this new reality that is based on love, because this is a works in progress and it's many centuries in the making, and you're at this exciting new time and you don't want to miss a moment of observing this change. Are there any more questions?
What do you see in the financial markets ahead?
What do we see in the financial markets? We see a broad spectrum of everything. We see very, very, very ultra wealthy, and we see completely broken, poor, those without resources. And the markets themselves actually continue with an amazing amount of resilience. People are expecting huge crashes, and we don't see that. We see individuals like yourselves who are learning to transform yourselves and your relationship to the markets to that where you're independent in terms of working to have a life that's based on your own intended expression of your soul, of love, and how you're going to build a world around you, and people who are tied to those markets and feeling every last bump with them. We see actually much more stabilized processing in the financial markets, oddly.
I got caught up in some heavy fraud with my credit cards, and I thought it was over, but I got a couple phone calls last night, or not last night, 2 nights ago, and is that going to continue, or how can I stop it?
It will stop. You will have to continue to sort of wipe clean your own history in a way and reestablish. And then those who are attacking, you can look at 2 ways. Is that there's ways that the financial commercial people will help facilitate a new new numbers, new credit cards, new ways to access your money, and then the ways that you will use them. But your fraud doesn't come from your misuse or your going recklessly. There's an enormous amount of advanced financial thievery that's being created all the time, everywhere. But we think that your awareness, you're working on both sides, on both with your financial people and also with the spiritual idea that you're attracting this for a reason, that there's some sort of metaphorical and esoteric fraud, perhaps, in a whole different sector of your life that really has nothing to do with your credit cards. And if you work on that too, of releasing some of the emotion around things in your life maybe that might be coming up that seem to have nothing to do with it. We're not saying that you've acted badly so you deserve the fraud, but there is an energetic tie, because there's many, many people who never get hit by fraud. And so look at it more like an opportunity to learn your power and your connections. And there's a humility here, because when you're working with this kind of energy and this kind of power, then you have to, at some point, surrender to God. God is basically in charge. You do your part. But in the end, God will basically be in charge of how things fall out, and the part of you that is God has to sort of surrender to that and do what needs to be done one step at a time with what you have, with that full intention that you're doing everything you can, and we think it will clear itself up for you.
Thank you very much.
We will, at this time, close the channel with our great gratitude. And we're going to demonstrate self-love in that we are a group of angels and ancestors, a party, really, that has been working with you since before you got here, and you will be here after you go. You will be a part of this party, and you will, chances are, those of you who are so deeply rooted in this particular space of Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church, that you will be here after you pass, when you're in afterlife. And there's a whole level of self-love that a lot of those ancestors are learning in afterlife at this time too. And it involves being in service to you in this way. One of the reasons the church was set up, to be able to communicate with those who had passed along, so that they can bring their own wisdom to this intention to create love one person at a time, starting with you. And so never forget, and never fail to participate and ask. Ask for help. Be thankful for the help of the divine that's always with you. Never take it for granted. Feel and breathe. And then as you move forward into the summer of love, commit to becoming this kind of love. And then you'll only need to watch and be amazed. Namaste.